How's it going, everybody? And in a video today that is a surprise to me, I actually have more questions than I have answers. I would say I'm pretty excited about it. Overall, if you guys have ever paid attention to the history of Rocket League and you aren't, I guess, new to the scene, you should be very familiar about Cloud9, their introduction into the RLCS, the former Team Iris team, their DreamHack run, and signing Squishy, Gimmick, and Torment. And it was this crazy thing that ended up happening. And the team became iconic in North America. They were one of the big three, and Squishy hit the ceiling shot in season 4, and like iconic moments for the brand until they finally went on to win a world championship in season 6, where they shut down the undefeated Dignitas, who was on a 3-tournament tear. They were a dynasty, and it was unbelievable. Since then, Cloud9 has definitely fallen from grace, and they decided to eventually dip based upon footage that I covered on my channel. About how Cloud9 basically was stating, we're leaving unless you give us better communication. We don't feel comfortable in the scene for Rocket League. And they bid adieu for a while until they just came back this last season. They picked up a team due to like stimulus money in the Esports World Cup and so on and so forth. But many of us, when Cloud9 was kind of tampering with coming back into the RLCS, throughout the years, they've reached out to high-level NA teams and basically said, hey, Beast Mode, Daniel, whoever, we're going to give you a contract to build us a super team, and we'll make it happen. We'll pay you whatever you want. We always had this kind of inkling or this kind of feeling of like, when are you going to pick up Squishy again? Squishy is now a content creator. He's no longer with the team. You know, he's making crazy runs in like open qualifier stuff with Turbo's Cheeks and whatnot. But like, when are you going to pick him up? Like, as a content creator, it makes sense. He's endemic to the brand from what he grew, and he makes a lot of sense from like the translation between Rocket League fan base and so on and so forth. What's your guys' goal? And after Rule 1 kind of had their hiccup and their disbandment, Squishy becomes a free agent, and it's like, it's here again. And then you see Cloud9 release their roster, and then you see Squishy join on to the Snowmen as like a sub in Shift Summer League. So we're like, what the heck is going on? And then out of nowhere, which to my surprise, and I don't think anybody expected, Cloud9 puts out this video. And we're going to talk through it. We don't need to listen to the whole thing, but it basically is Mango and Jack, the owner of Cloud9, kind of talking. They're sitting at a table eating muffins. There's little things in the background about like ceiling shots. During this, there's audio cues of like goal explosion sounds and things like that. And they say to ignore them, and then it shows Squishy in the corner throwing stuff at them and paying respects to the ceiling shot that happened in season 4, right? And while I'm not surprised by them being like, yo, Squishy's now a content creator for us, the thing that I want to focus on in this video, which is crazy, is that he's a co-owner of Cloud9, and I want to get into the business of that, what that means. And unfortunately, a lot of it, without the details, I don't have answers to. So I'm just going to kind of talk about where my brain is and kind of the thought process behind all of this. Squishy also replied to it and said, hey, like, short and sweet, content creator and co-owner, and they're also releasing Squishy's own product line. I personally think the merch could be significantly better. The business behind all of this is kind of the curiosity that I have of what it means to be a co-owner of Cloud9. For those that don't know, Cloud9, massive organization. You guys should all know that. They're one of the big names in North America when it comes to esports organizations. But I will say they have regressed quite a bit over the years. And by regress, I don't mean like their prestige has diminished. I mean that they have kind of taken a step away from a lot of different esports. They're in Valorant now, League of Legends, Counter-Strike, Call of Duty with Subliners, I think is them. And then they're in Overwatch, but Overwatch is dead now. No, it's back to open qualify. I forget what's going on with it. Nobody watches Overwatch. I don't know. But like some franchise leagues, some otherwise, and then they were in Rocket League for a tiny bit. But Cloud9 over the last like 2 years really took a step back. They stopped investing so heavily into different teams. Cloud9's kind of a weird one. The evaluation of esports orgs is always super inflated. We don't actually know what their books say. We don't know a true valuation of like, this is how much revenue we pull in. This is how much our branding is worth. So it's like this huge inflated number. In 2022, Forbes valued them at $380 million. That has gone down and has kind of fluctuated back and forth. But back when stats were out, Cloud9's valued as like a top 5 esports org. Like namesake notoriety. Cloud9's huge. Okay. We know that. It's kind of a dream org. So when you think about that and you try to put that into perspective, we're going to use that blanket number of like 400 million, assuming they go up 20 million per year. Squishy is now a partial owner of that. So whatever happens with Cloud9, the successes, the losses, whatever, he has a percent stake in the company that he has ownership of. I don't know what that percentage is. I don't know what kind of buying power he has. I don't know if he had to purchase a bunch of like, I'm trying to identify how this would work because it's tough when you don't have the specifics. But realistically, what ended up happening, Cloud9 is not publicly traded, so it's not like there is a value per stock and he bought X amount of shares. He bought so many shares, now he has a percentage. What probably ended up happening is he's like, hey guys, I want to be invested in this organization. Yes, I want to be a content creator, so on and so forth, but I want to earn something long-term sustainability. And I'm curious on how that conversation went. I'm very interested to hear on what are the details of this deal. Did he say, hey, I want to be able to make decisions. I want to just be a content creator and then have my efforts go and kick back to me. I want to have a seat at the high level table. You know, am I a part of the board that gets to say what happens, what doesn't happen? I don't know how that applied. I assume with him being a content creator, they are paying him a salary, which is kind of weird to like, hey, I'm paying myself kind of mentality as a content creator. But it basically gives him a blanket amount of money that he's probably earning per month outside of, you know, the content reliability and everything else. Plus, if he decides he wants to stop doing content, maybe he just transitions to the business side of things. So there's a lot of curiosity for that. And it's a lot to say for a 23-year-old kid. Nothing against Squishy. His life has been pretty awesome up to now, where it's like, fresh out of high school, you're a pro Rocket League player, and it's just kind of ascended from there. You know, he's got over 1 million, like 1.3 some odd subs in YouTube based on his, hey, this car is insane content, and like it's clicking for him. Things are going well. His streams are pulling good viewers. So I'm really happy for the kid. I think it's incredible, but I just don't know the details of what's actually happening with the deal. I assume he's going to be there to help them with anything Rocket League related as a scout or whatever. It also answers the question if he's going to be a sub or a coach. I would assume not. Or maybe he double dips. I think it's kind of crazy, but I want to know how much ownership he has in the company. If it's just like a 2% share or something like that, or if it's like a larger portion, did he have to pay? Because usually that's the way that it works, where like, hey, I'm going to be this private investor that comes in, and by giving you X amount of money, I now get X percentage of the decision-making power I own, so on and so forth. And when your company is valued at, you know, roughly $420 million, which probably isn't the case anymore with the whole layoff thing and COVID and all that other kind of stuff in the last 3 years, I'm very curious on how it all went down. What it applies to, what he has the ability to do. I can tell you guys myself, I'm going to be lurking his stream and asking some questions and seeing what he's willing to say, but I mean, first and foremost, congrats to Squishy. That's absolutely insane to not only be a content creator and kind of come full circle in his career, which I think is probably what he wanted in the first place, which is really cool. But second thing, to have ownership of such a highly touted organization, I mean, that's just cool. So congrats, Squishy. That's pretty crazy, wild stuff. I will try to see if I can get additional information on the whole deal and what it all played out to, but I'm not going to promise anything. But curious on your guys' thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below. How do you feel about the whole situation and him being a co-owner? Because that seems to be the trend orgs are going. More content creator-based orgs. I think it's crazy. But with that said, appreciate you guys tuning in as always. If you guys feel so kind, drop a sub, hit the like button as it helps me out greatly. And we'll catch you in the next video. Peace.